Hi, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope your day is a blessing for you. I hope that you have some good things going on. If not, I hope you've had an opportunity to reflect and try to find the good in it. I had to do that myself today. My earlier video that I did, a situation happened that I had to contend with. That this situation makes me cry every single time. But you know what? I always have to say, okay, what am I going to do about it? And I just take care of the situation. It's life. Sometimes we have things going on that we have to contend with. And a lot of times many other people are not aware or they wouldn't understand. So you keep quiet about it. It's not important. But anyway, so I started going about my day. I got the tears out of the way and I just proceeded to the things that I needed to do. And one of the things I needed to do is I got to get the laundry done. So I went downstairs. I had some things I wanted to get washed for myself, and then knew my husband had some clothes that he had brought down earlier of his. And so I threw those all in the wash, not giving any thought. But it was a full load, so I was grateful there. Then I came up, I started working on all my other chores, getting things done. Talking to the birds, singing to the birds, because that singing lifts me out of a negative way, and that's a good thing. And if I can't sing, if my heart's not in it, I'll throw the radio on or I'll put a CD in or something like that. And I find that with the birds, they're kind of stressed because I won't let them outside because it's too cold. The birds don't know that, but it's too cold. It's not even 70 degrees, and they're 4 to 6 weeks. They've got to be at least 6 weeks old. They're getting big. They're going to be such beautiful chickens. And so as I'm getting my chores done, realizing that some things aren't, the dehydrator isn't dehydrating as fast as I'd like. Oh well. So I'm working on the other things. Go downstairs and I go to get my laundry out. And before I go on further, I want you to know, I already talked to my husband about this, so please know, he knows that I'm talking about this. And yes, you guessed it, it has to do with him. But does it? It might have to do with me too. So I'm taking the clothes out of the washer like we all would, and I go to put them into the dryer. Now, initially I was going to wait to do laundry until tomorrow, hopefully hang them outside, but life happens and you have to get the laundry done. And so I took care of that and I'm putting them in, and I'm hearing this peculiar noise that sounds way too familiar. And then I heard it again. And those of you who have been following me know that my husband's making me a chicken coop for the chickens I insisted that we needed. He had thought he had talked me out of it, and he had. And then I read about hundreds of chickens, thousands of chickens that died. I had already seen, and this is before that fire, I already saw the prices of eggs going up. Worse with the farmers, because they have to absorb their costs too. But after that, and then hearing that they're saying eggs are going to be $12 a dozen, I'm one of those people that's like, okay, I've had it. Let's just go do this. So he goes, I thought I had you convinced. I said, no. I said, I bake a lot for you. I like baking you breads. I like doing this. I like doing that. I said, we need eggs in the house. Now, for those of you who know that I have an egg allergy sensitivity, when I talked to my allergist about it, she says, when you bake breads and cookies, make sure they're items that cook a certain length of time. Okay, I can do that. When I cook eggs, I can't have a soft boil. I can't have anything that's not completely cooked. I could have a hard boiled. But I was still having problems with the store-bought eggs. So I would purchase farm eggs. They were more expensive, but they weren't that bad. But they've gotten worse. And so I decided, okay, it's time for us to think outside the box. What are we going to do? And I had already started dehydrating the eggs. So yeah, I have dehydrated eggs to bake with. So by the time I get through them, what am I going to do? And yes, I'm getting eggs here and there. So, because it's summertime, we like potato salad and stuff like that. So we got the chickens. And I explained to my husband, the rationale why I wanted them. We knew the expense going in. So anyways, back to the laundry. I found something. He left me a present in his pockets. You know what those are, don't you? And if you're a gentleman watching, or you are a woman who likes to work in a shop too, you know. Those things land in your pocket. You know when you're putting them there, but you're cleaning up or you're doing other stuff and you forget that you're just not aware that they're there. You throw your clothes in the laundry and bada bing, you move on. Now, had my husband done the laundry and it was just his clothes, because I don't always do the laundry. We don't consider that my chore. I tend to do it most often. But he will do it once a week or so if he has work clothes that have a film on it or whatever he's working with at work. So he will take care of that. But I did it because he hadn't said anything to me about it. And mostly the clothes I was washing were things that he had used when he was building the coop. And no, we're not done yet. So I'm pulling the clothes out and I hear this sound. Not quarters, not nickels, not even pennies. They were screws. And I'm like, oh no, why couldn't it be a $5 bill? No, it's not going to be a money-making opportunity today. So I started going through and I heard another one. That's why there's two there. So I said, okay. And I found them and I took them out because they kind of dropped to the bottom of the washing thing. So I pulled them out. And then I pulled another shirt out. I went to put it in the dryer and it started making a noise. So I thought, oh no, there's another one, and it went into the dryer, so I had to pull everything out. And lo and behold, it was the buttons on his shirt that were making that noise. So far, so we're doing fine. I didn't check at that point to see if anything was falling apart, because typically if something's falling apart, it would have been shredding. And that's happened before from screws. And that's why I was worried. I had some of my clothes in there and some of his, and some were new shirts I bought him that wick away the sweat that he needed, because his workplace can be very warm. And so I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to destroy these. These were brand new. And we haven't bought clothes all year from, not much. I know that I need to order him some jeans, but I haven't yet. And I'm always ahead, so I think he has a few to get him by until I order some. So I came upstairs, and at first I was a little disappointed. I'm like, Dave. He wasn't here, so he didn't get to hear me. By the time I got upstairs, I was saying, Laura, why didn't you check? Well, why didn't he check? Because, he came in, he was tired. He came in and it was starting to get overcast. He was trying to get things picked up. And I was helping him out there. And then why didn't I check the pockets? Because it's been a while since he's had any. And we both have been busy. And I had other things on my mind. And that's just it. We all come to our day with stuff. Sometimes it's stuff similar to what I'm dealing with, and no, not a topic I can discuss here, but also the emotion of the world and all these other things. Or maybe we got a bad phone call from somebody, or whatever the case may be, we never know. So both my husband and I were at fault here. So when he called, I said, hon, the next time you're working on something, could you try to remember to take loose screws, nuts and bolts, and other things out of your pockets? He goes, oh no, did I forget? I said, yeah, you did, but it's okay, because at this point I got the clothes out of the dryer and nothing had been damaged. And I was very, very grateful. And he goes, I really didn't mean to do that. And I could tell in his voice he didn't mean to. And I said, I'm not upset, because I should have checked them too. You see, David and I don't always connect like this. But over the years, we've gotten so good at it. We've gotten a lot better. But in our world of chaos and mayhem, all this other stuff, people are not communicating very well. And sometimes we respond inappropriately. The best way to handle that is to address how you could have responded better. Does that mean the other person will not take accountability? No. Most especially if they're not related to you. Most especially if they really don't know the things that are going on in your life. And you know why? Because things are happening in theirs as well. So, and then I thought about this a little later, after I got off the phone with him. We all have things going on. When we get upset with something, we have a choice. We can be bitter, we can be angry, we can just let it go. Some things are important not to let go, because some things need to be addressed. But it's a matter of how we address it. I'd like to think that I do okay doing that. Some people don't think I do. I like to think we all try. But what I have learned over the last more than 2 years, how we perceive other people is a reflection of ourselves. What about their actions do we not like? A lot of times, it's kind of a reflection of us and how we might react in their circumstance. And we don't like ourselves when we do that. It could be just the manner in which people treat you. And sometimes some people are able to just let it roll off their backs. Others, the occurrence is a trigger for things that have happened in the past. So see, our world, excuse me, I need to take a drink. Our world is made up of a lot of personalities, a lot of dynamics, and a lot of hurt, but a lot of joy. How we handle the screws in our washer, or the person yelling at us, or somebody treating others poorly, how we respond shares with us how much we've grown and how much more we might need to learn and grow as well. I have things I need to improve on. I wish I was perfect. But I think God keeps me humble. I'm not happy that I found screws in my washer, but I am happy that the clothes did not get damaged. More importantly, I am happy that when I asked my husband, he didn't know that the clothes hadn't been damaged at this point. How I handled my conversation with him resulted in, I am so sorry. He didn't mean to leave it there. He didn't, it's just one of those things. It's like, honey, could you try? That's all I ask. Will there be screws in my washer in the future? Yeah, there will be. Sort of like tissues in our laundry. Have you ever had that happen? During allergy season, both my husband and I have tissues in our pockets. I told him, I says, I'm going to make cloth tissues. He goes, that's disgusting. I said, no, I'll make plenty. So like when we go out for a walk, we have something. Because if those go through the washer, it doesn't make a mess. Now see, that's something I can handle, meaning I can come up with the solution to the problem. Screws in the pockets are a result of someone doing something for me because he loves me. He didn't do it because I think I'll irritate her. This whole chicken coop has really been wiping me out. I think I'm going to be mean and leave screws in my shirt. If he really wanted to do that, he could have left a lot more in. So you know it's an accident. But I know him, so he would never do it intentionally. Like the children when they break a glass. I had a daughter who, every time she had a glass instead of a plastic cup, she would break it. She didn't throw it on the floor. It was just one of those things. Like she was in a hurry. A lot of times she was in a hurry to go read a book. So glasses broke. I like drinking out of glasses. She wasn't allowed to drink out of glasses anymore. I made sure I had plastic cups for her. And I have plastic cups in the house for the young ones, the grandchildren. But I enjoy drinking out of glass, so I still have glass in the house. It's just my preference. I don't even like drinking out of the plastic bottles, that I might grab one and go. Don't even like them. But it's a convenience factor, and it's a one-time use, and so I move on. And I've recently got some glass bottles that I can reuse, wash and reuse. So I kind of like those. My husband, none of this bothers him. The reason I wanted to share today was not to humiliate my husband, promise you. He knows that I was going to share this, because I was teasing him a little bit. We need to stop and take inventory of ourselves. Does that mean we're always going to be good? No. But if we take the time and take inventory of our response, if we take a moment and walk up the stairs to the second floor, or the first floor from the cellar, if we take that time, and during that time, instead of walking up angry, kind of like start processing what happened, we do better. Or at least I do. When we're attacked, though, it's a different story. I think we all respond. More so after this whole, in the last couple years. And it's only getting worse. And it's going to get worse. We're going to encounter people that are struggling in the grocery store. We're going to encounter young families that can't afford their groceries. They're going to be angry when they typically are not angry people. We're going to have people with money be angry at people. I worked for a gentleman who was quite wealthy. I was his secretary accountant. He was mean. I went there and I took the place of another girl, and she left. I understood why. After I was working, she gave me some warnings. I said, it'll be all right. He was mean. So I went in and I gave him my notice, and I said, listen, I can't work for you anymore. And he got mad at me. He goes, why? I said, this. He goes, I don't understand. He didn't understand how he was coming across. I said, listen, when you yell at me, I don't want to be here. A lot of times you blame me for things that I never did. But you're so angry, you're going about angry at everybody. I don't need this. Everybody else is kind of walking on eggshells, and I'm like, I just started here. There are other jobs out there. And it was kind of like a job that I just took in the interim anyway, but I wanted to stay because it was a job that I was very interested in doing. It related to my sewing business, and I can't say what it is because I don't want to say mean things or anything by applying a name. So he felt bad when I was leaving because, first of all, he didn't have somebody to replace me. But second, I think he took a moment to realize how he had treated me. So I left. I gave him a 2 weeks notice, and I left. And then, I moved on. And then one day, because I had gone on to be an LNA, I was doing some CST training, but in the interim, before I became a tech, I was working in preoperative. And wouldn't you know it, there was a patient that came in, and I was the LNA that had to do his vitals, prep him, and do all that stuff. I've encountered people that have been mean to me when I worked at the hospital. God has given me grace, because even when people have treated me bad, I've never been angry at them, disappointed. And sometimes I choose to walk away because, you know what, I don't need this. I'm a very giving, loving person, and I'm a sensitive person. But if you're going to yell, I'm not going to do it. So he came in, and he was talking to me, and I said, he started telling me stuff, and I said, oh, I know who you are. And he goes, how do you know me? He forgot, and I didn't change much. And I said, I worked for you. And then I said, and then he looked at my name tag. He goes, oh. And it was really hard because he was trying to do some bad. I said, it's okay. Let's get forward. I said, these are the things I need to do. I just let it go. But it was interesting. I chose to be kind to him. You know why? It was a different circumstance at this point. He needed surgery. He needed compassion. And I had already forgiven him. And the one thing that I have learned through my faith is that we're not to hold on to grudges and remain bitter. Now, you can heal all you want. There are things that trigger someone who has gone through stuff. And I encounter things like that I have to work through. Doesn't mean I haven't healed. It just means it awakens me to stuff. So how he was treating me made me realize that I did forgive him because of how I was able to prepare him for surgery, get things taken care of, let the nurses know what needed to be done. Never said a word to the nurses. You know why? Because my prior relationship with him was not of importance. There was no reason for me to gossip about something that was in the past that other people had no business knowing. And he needed to be able to go into a procedure comfortably. And I saw him later in post-op because I did some stuff over in that department as well. And he was still really nice. He called me by name. Never addressed the past. Just asked about a few things that was going on. He needed something. I said, well, let me get the nurse for you. That kind of stuff. Why I'm sharing this is we have choices to be upset with the screws in our washer, or we choose to say, what part of this could I have made different? The job, I left. Not to be mean to them, because they really did need my help. But the type of help that I was providing wasn't worth the treatment I received, if that makes any sense. If my husband treated me bad when I found these and I took care of it, told him good, if he started yelling at me, I would say, whoa boy, time out. But if anybody who does that, no, it's not appropriate. Not just for me, but it's not appropriate for anybody. People have become mean, and I've shared that in other videos. I would like to believe that we can change. Let's do what we can to keep the screws out of the washer. And yet when we find them in there, let's see what we can do to resolve the situation. Maybe I would have had to mend some clothes. I was ready for it. I didn't want to. I had too much other stuff to do. But I made the decision that, okay, whatever happened, I was going to mend whatever, even the new shirts, so that they wouldn't look like they were mended. Sometimes I have those magic skills. So I just wanted to leave with you that life happens. Today is an overcast day, and that tends to be something that kind of weighs heavy on me. But that wasn't what was the issue earlier. But the overcast can complicate it. I hope that you will stop and think next time somebody has crossed you the wrong way, that think about the screws in the washer. We can choose to plan to fix the damage or hope no damage occurs and just make do with what happens. Is it worth being upset about? Is it going to change your life to the point where it's not worth it? If somebody's treating you bad, there is nothing wrong for you to speak up and respond in kind. That's a natural human response. But we can start out by being kind. And if it goes the wrong way, well, I guess things happen. But I hope that we can all learn. I've learned a lot over these last couple of years. In my marriage, I'm so grateful for how far along we've come. And so, if you need a reminder, grab a few screws. Put them in your wallet. Put them in your back pocket, in a bag maybe, so that when you sit on them, you're reminded. Or stick them on your car dash. Wherever you need a reminder that screws are going to get caught in the laundry. And if it's not that, tissues that make a mess. Tissues in the washer and dryer are not going to hurt anybody. It's an inconvenience that we have to clean up and sometimes rewash the clothes. I hope I shared something of value. It was important for me to share because I reflect on a lot of things that occur in my life. And that's one thing that I'm choosing not to let get to me. And I'm really grateful because God honored that response by not allowing my clothing to get damaged or my husband's new shirts. And I got a wonderful response from my husband. The fact that he says, "Oh, honey, I am so sorry." Do you know how warming that is to my heart, considering a situation that I encountered? And I shared that with him afterwards. He goes, "You've had a bad day." I said, "I had a bad start, but you made it better." And that's why communicating is so important. Communicate your concerns in a kind and loving way. Have a great day, and may God bless you.